Bola. Welcome, Cassie. Welcome, 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 Hansen. So this person is saying, good morning from Cameroon. Hansen is the founder of TSC Clothing. There's also Yushra Ramadan from Egypt. Thank you so much for joining this session. Okay, so as you know, the Fashionomics Africa Incubator and Accelerator program is an 8 weeks intensive program designed by the African Development Bank to increase Africa's participation in the global textile and fashion industry value chain. Now, the community training sessions are capacity building sessions created to equip you as a fashion entrepreneur with deep insights and knowledge of trends and opportunities in the African fashion industry that you can take advantage of. We are at the very first community training session, and it's titled Career Opportunities in the Fashion Ecosystem in Africa. The second training session, titled Entrepreneurship Opportunities in the Fashion Ecosystem in Africa, will hold on Wednesday, that's next week, Wednesday, May 3rd at 3 p.m. GMT. So make sure you join. Okay, so I'm just going to share our ground rules. Can you just share your screen so we can share our ground rules? Thank you. Fantastic. So the first thing is switch on your camera, but this is a webinar feature and your camera can't be on, so it's fine. So just use the chat box to comment and use the question and answer box to ask questions. This is your mic is also your microphone is also muted. So I'm also encouraging you to use the chat box to send your comments. Participate actively using the chat box. Raise your hand if you want to say something, but I would also encourage you to use the chat box if you want to say something, because we're manning that and the question and answer box. Give space to others to participate. And the last ground rule is what we discuss here stays here. Okay, now we're moving on to the next sector, which is poll collection. So we're going to take a poll right now. It's going to pop up on your screen. Please fill it out immediately. It's super easy to fill out, and once you're done filling it out, please submit. So I'm going to start the poll, and please fill out the poll. So I have launched the poll. I can see we have 209 people on the call, and there are just 3 questions. So please, immediately this poll hits your screen, please fill it. Yes, we have 1 person who's filled it. Thank you so much. 2 people have filled the poll. Thank you so much. 3, 4, 5. Absolutely amazing. Thank you. 10, already 11, 16, 18, 19. Thank you. So please just keep filling the poll. We need everyone on this call to fill the poll. And once you're done filling the poll, please just write done in the comment section, in the chat box. If you are done filling the poll and you've submitted it, please just write done in the chat box. Thank you very much. Okay, so I'm just going to spend 1 minute to wait for everyone on this call to fill the poll. Yes. We already have more than half. We're already at 57%. Thank you so much. This is fantastic. This is fantastic. Okay, so more people. Okay, so now to our feature presentation. I'm going to leave the poll on for a while, and I want everyone to fill. There's still more people joining the session, so we want everyone to be part of this. So we'll leave the poll on for a while. If you're done filling it, totally gets removed from your screen, so don't bother. Okay, so now to our feature presentation. Today's session is titled Career Opportunities in the Fashion Ecosystem in Africa, and our facilitator is no other than Connie Alurch here, and she's ready to start her session. But before she starts, I'm going to read out her bio so you get to know a little bit about her before she starts her session. So Connie Alurch is an award-winning fashion stylist, image consultant, and fashion influencer with experience working both in Kenya and internationally. She holds a bachelor's degree from the Fashion Institute of Technology in New York and a master's degree in fashion styling from Istituto Marangoni in Milan, where she has been appointed as the first African fashion tutor. Connie is the fashion editor for the Sunday Nation and Business Daily newspapers. To continually support the Buy Kenya, Build Kenya initiative in April 2022, she launched the Social Sunday Fashion Brunch series in partnership with the Social House, where Kenyan designers have a platform to showcase their looks with a runway show and sell the collections at the social retail store for 8 weeks. Connie currently works as the regional consultant for Fashionomics Africa, an initiative of the African Development Bank that promotes the fashion industry as a driver of economic growth and job creation in Africa. It's a pleasure to have you here, Connie. We look forward to a great learning session. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Tobilola, and good afternoon, everyone from around Africa. This is such an honor to be here and to be presenting this discussion we'll be having today on opportunities in the creative African fashion system today. So I think I'll just start. Tobilola, are you done with the poll, or you'll have it continuing as we go on? So
yeah, you can minimize it. Sorry,
okay.
You can minimize it. We still want some people to feel it. Yeah,
great,
thank you.
So thank you for the introduction. So I will start off. I've already been introduced with this brief about me, but as a creative, I like to show my work. As we creatives, we are very visual. So please follow me on social media. That's my website, www.conniealurch.com. You can follow me on the website, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter is the same. Please follow me so we can continue connecting as we move along. Now, as a stylist and image consultant, I like to show the work I've done and, you know, what I use to enhance people's brands, whether it's a lady or a man and clients who I work on. So this is a client of mine on the left. Her name is Hannah Gitonga. She owns a law firm. And she was doing a picture for her birthday, a photo shoot. And it was for her birthday and it was also for her professional pictures. So this is her before and this is her after. So put in the chat, let me know what you think of the transformation of her looks. So literally as a stylist, my work is to enhance the look of the person who I'm working with. I still maintain the natural look of the person, but I enhance it by elevating their brand with their clothes. So this is what stylists and image consultants do on the left. On the right-hand side, another client of ours, he's a chief technical officer in a firm in Kenya. And he was having a problem, you know, when I was going for meetings, he didn't look like a senior manager. So, you know, his team asked me to work with him to enhance his brand. So on the left is his before, and on the after, you can see he looks happy, he's smiling, his brand has been enhanced. We managed to work out his, you know, his whole branding look. We gave him a corporate look. So these are just some of the opportunities as a stylist that I work on with various clients here in Kenya. As you heard, I'm also a fashion editor for the Business Daily newspaper and Sunday Nation newspaper. These are local newspapers in Kenya. So on the left is some of the work I've done for the Business Daily newspaper. And on the left and then on the right is what I've done for Sunday Nation. So these are all pretty recent work of mine. And what I'm looking forward to, I have an event that I'm doing next week. I like to partner, as we get into this discussion about the fashion ecosystem, you'll understand why it's important to partner with different people within the industry. So my colleague, Christine Courier, is a makeup artist, and we'll be doing a masterclass on Saturday, May 6th. We call it Conscious Confidence. So now I shall start on the current state of the African fashion industry. So the fashion and textile industry is the second largest industry in Africa. It's estimated at $31 billion USD, and that was in 2020. And it's increasing annually. It's creating millions of jobs for Africans. This number is increasing, and the industry is expected to keep growing globally, with African designers and creatives emerging and expanding, introducing new technology and views on fashion. So the demand for African designs, textiles, and garments is constantly increasing within and beyond the continent of Africa. Currently in the market, what is trending now is sustainable fashion, luxury, fashionable mid-market clothing and accessories. So sustainability, buzzword, it's used everywhere. This is what we're all about. Why? Right now, the key thing about sustainability and fashion is whether it's conscious fashion, ethical, slow, or circular, it has the same methodology, the 3 R's: reuse, recycle, and regenerate. That is all about sustainability. I'll say that again: reuse, recycle, and regenerate. So this is what many designers, not only in Africa, but around the world are working on, because with the current state of the world, we need to learn how to be sustainable in our fashion as designers and also as consumers. So what are some of the methods designers are currently adopting? Thrifting, rental of clothes, where you just rent out the clothes and you get them back, and you pay a fee to rent them out. Upcycling, literally giving an outfit new life, and recycling again. So all of these are forms of sustainability. We'll start with 3D printing, which is also another interesting aspect that has grown. 3D printing is a method of creating wearable art and intricate geometric designs. This technology is also used to create prototypes so that designers can test their designs before they go into production. If you see here, this is an image of a 3D. It's been printed out, right? So now they've tested it out on the model. So this is a really cool aspect of fashion that's really growing now in Africa. We also have the digital print marketing, pattern making, where if you look on the left, the designer actually creates the designs on their own, and then they're digitally printed, all right? It's personalized, and it's great because this process is faster, it's more cost efficient, and has less of an impact on the environment compared to alternate methods, which are wasteful. So right now, as a creative designer, once you create your designs, you literally put them on the computer, and the technology aids in printing out, so you don't waste fabric, but you print specifically what you want. And it's easy to change the patterns and the styles. Now, celebrity and influencer culture. With the growing of e-commerce and social media marketing for brands, celebrity and influencer marketing has become a necessary tool. African brands are working with renowned personalities around Africa to convert their social capital into sales. Influencers work as a connecting bridge between the designers and consumers. And I'm sure whatever part of Africa that you're on this call, you're all aware, whichever country you're from, there's personalities who designers work with and fashion brands who work with to push their products and sales. So what are the opportunities we currently have in this fashion ecosystem today in Africa? So currently in the last 10 years, these are the opportunities that have grown in Africa: fashion designers, fashion stylists, fashion show producers, retails and sales, academics. Now we have a lot of people pursuing fashion as a PhD, so that their focus is on research, and through that research, they're able to help, institutions around Africa and the world, textile designers and producers, production managers, quality control, pattern drafting and cutters, fabric buyers and importers, personal shoppers, fashion bloggers and influencers, and the most exciting and interesting, artificial intelligence, AI. We'll start off with the designers because I'm so sure it would be great to know how many designers are on this call. If you could put in the chat how many designers are on this call, fashion designers and from around Africa, that would be great for us to know also. So please put in the chat if you're a designer and what part of Africa you're from. So a fashion designer basically does the whole process of creating, researching, and literally producing the designs, whether it's clothes, shoes, or accessories. They manage the entire process from start to finish. Sustainable fashion designers are constantly in demand and are growing in Africa. What are the opportunities in sustainable fashion in Africa? There's traceability, where this literally means where you're able to, whatever product you're working on, you can start and trace the raw material, everything from start to finish. Thrifting, this is literally where you're getting outfits that have been used before and you're reusing them again and upcycling or recycling them. So this is basically giving new life to a product. And also a very popular one is community development projects where designers are working on social impact, where they're creating designs that can be reused again in different development projects. So I have an example here, Reform Studio. I love them, they're from Egypt. So Reform Studio create responsible and sustainable products by upcycling discarded plastic bags. You can see the images here. These are plastic bags that have been discarded but given a new life and upcycled. They provide jobs and empowerment for local communities. From Kenya, we have Zia Africa. She recently launched a sustainable fashion line from high quality, 100% organic cotton. And all of this is recycled, and every aspect of fabric that she uses and the accessories are traceable, meaning she can tell you if it's a button here, she'll tell you where it's from. This whole shirt and pants, the fabric used, she'll be able to tell you this is from this place and this. This is a big thing in sustainability, traceability, where you can actually quantify and specifically say which aspect of fabric or accessory you've used and where it's come from. Now, another growing crop is stylists. So stylists create outsiders on how the look should be worn. So and most of the stylists we have around Africa work closely with fashion brands and designers. So there's a whole bunch of stylists that have cropped up around Africa in the last 5 years. So celebrity stylists, as you know, work with personalities. It could be celebrities, local or international. We also have personal stylists and shoppers. So these are people who are hired to literally organize and review a person's wardrobe and shop for them. We have the stylists who are editorial. They work for magazines and newspapers, and their work is literally to be editorial and sell products on newspapers, on print. Then we have the runway stylists. They work together in collaboration with designers. So they help the designer create the looks that are going on a runway for a fashion show. And then we have production. So most of production or TV stylists.
Hi, Connie. Would it be possible for you to slower your pace so that the interpreters can follow you?
Yes, I will do that. Thanks. So I will go again. So I'll start again. Celebrity stylists. So for the celebrity stylists, they mainly work with personalities. So these could be personalities from within Africa or around the world. And these basically what they do is they create the looks, because most of these celebrities have a lot of events which they attend. Personal stylists mainly work with individuals. So these individuals maybe would need a wardrobe review or shopping done. Editorial stylists. So these stylists work with either magazines or newspapers. So their work is to be able to help sell products on these print publications. And a lot of, this is actually where I started my career as an editorial stylist. So I did do a lot of work for a magazine called True Love Magazine here in Kenya. We also have the runway stylists. So for these runway stylists, they work with designers. So they help the designers create the looks that they'll be showcasing on the runway. And then finally, we have production or TV stylists. So these stylists work a lot on production. Some examples of productions are news. Most TV stations have a stylist who helps the news anchors get ready for the shows and help them select wardrobe that is appropriate for TV. Other stylists for production are in advertising agencies. We have TV agency or advertising agencies that want to shoot a commercial. We have stylists who work on that. So these are just some examples of fashion stylists. So here on your left, I have from Nigeria, Swanky Jerry. He's very famous around Africa. He's a celebrity stylist. And here he's dressing celebrity Pearl Tusi. She's from South Africa. On our right-hand side, from those who are from Kenya will recognize Lady Mandy. She's a local celebrity stylist. She's styled many personalities, including Sauti Sol, that's her husband there, musician from the group Sauti Sol. And currently what she has styled, which we are watching on our screens, is the show Real Housewives of Nairobi. Now, fashion show production. This is also another opportunity of career within Africa. On your left-hand side, you have an image of Lagos Fashion Week. So this is, a show that's put together every year by Lagos Fashion Week. It's produced by Style House Files. This is a fashion business development agency in Lagos, in Nigeria. And Omuyemi, actually, who produces this Lagos Fashion Week, is a good friend of mine. So that's an image of Lagos Fashion Week. On your right-hand side, we have Andiswa Manziwa from South Africa. So she has produced various shows, for example, Miss South Africa, Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week, and top model essay with her company that's called AM Productions. Our fourth opportunity is retail and sales. If you look on the left-hand side of images from this brand called Industry Africa, so they work with various designers from around Africa. So fashion retailers, what do they focus on? Clothes purchased from manufacturers, and they sell them to the customers. So what do you need to have to work in retail in Africa? Knowledge of fashion history, trends, customer needs, basics of clothing construction. You must understand how clothes should fit, whether it's a man or a woman, fabrics, and how you take care of your fabrics. What are examples of successful fashion retail shops in Africa? We have Mr. Price, Truworths from South Africa. Truworths has retail outlets around Africa. We have Ado Clothing, that's from South Africa. And we have Industry Africa. Industry Africa work with designers all over Africa, selling their products on their website here, and also on their Instagram. So if you look on your left-hand side, I have examples of designer work from Industry Africa. This designer featured here is Dialab. Academics. So what opportunities are there in studying fashion as an academician? You can offer classes, whether it's online or physical. You can teach at a university or a fashion institution. You can teach groups of people. You can do fashion mentorship. And on the higher level, if you're following fashion and studying it as a PhD level, you can get into research, right? And offer information and research services for institutions. You can also teach. So these are examples of the fifth opportunity for fashion industries available in Africa. On the left here is an example of a fashion institution. It's called Martensdale School of Fashion Design. This is in Kenya. On the center here is the CEO, Sally Karago, with graduates from his school. On the right side here is also an online, it's called Fashion Masterclasses Africa. And they do a lot of their physical, but they also do a lot of online fashion masterclasses. So today, we're lucky that in today's world, we have a lot of options for whether it's online or physical institutions where you can learn about fashion. Our sixth opportunity is you can study to be a textile designer. What do? They create and produce fabrics for weaving, knitting, printing, and dyeing. They work with fashion designers or also double up as fashion designers. So who are some textile designers / fashion designers? Again, you can be a fashion and textile designer at the same time because you can create the prints for your collections. We have Aissa from Senegal. She does traditional weaving and dyeing. We have Arirom from South Africa. They focus on textile printing. We have Bole Road Textiles from Ethiopia. They use ancient hand weaving traditions. On our right-hand side here, we have a textile print from the brand Arirom in South Africa. Our seventh opportunity is a production manager or quality controller. These people are extremely important because they ensure the smooth flow of production in a factory or a studio. They supervise the whole process from beginning to the final stages. They also double up as a quality controller. So basically in a factory, these are the people who ensure if, say, you're producing 50 dresses, the quality of dress number 1, from buttons to the hems to the panels, is the same quality as dress number 20 and dress number 50. Consistency, because as we all know, consistency in any product is extremely important. Our eighth opportunity is pattern drafting and cutting. So what does a pattern person do? They translate garment design into flat patterns using body measurements. They can be hired by fashion designers or are commercial pattern makers in factories. On the left here is new technology with laser cutting methods have been introduced into the market. So on the left here, you can see a pattern maker working on this laser technology here as he's making his samples here. So it's a laser cutting machine. It's been used to create and cut garment patterns. This is on your left side here. Now, our ninth opportunity is fabric buyers and importers. What do? They focus on buying and selling of fabrics. They work with designers and textile manufacturing companies. What do you need to have in order to become a fabric buyer or an importer? You must have knowledge of fibers and fabrics, durability of fabric, trending designs, different fabric companies. You must have contacts. You must understand the supply chain from the beginning of the creation of the product to the end of the product. In whichever country you're working in, you must understand the government regulations. Our 10th opportunity in Africa is personal shoppers. What does a personal shopper do? They carry out essential tasks like shopping, styling, and wardrobe organization. They work in collaboration with brands and fashion designers. What is the most important thing a personal shopper must do? They must identify their niche and target audience. I've given an example here of Anessi. Anessi is the CEO of a luxury management business in London. So she only does shopping for her clients, does luxury shopping. She only deals with luxury clientele. She operates in Africa, USA, and the UK. The 11th opportunity is fashion bloggers and influencers. So fashion influencing has been on the rise in the last 3 years and is now considered full-time career. Influencers and bloggers doing events, travel, and day-to-day life. So on our left is Joy Kendi from Kenya. She's wearing a piece from Vivo Woman. That's also a local made in Kenya brand. On the right-hand side, we have Denola from Nigeria, and he's wearing the Nigerian fashion brand, Orange Culture. And finally, we have artificial intelligence, AI. What does it mean? AI simply means computer software or machines that can work or react like humans. from designing to marketing and sales. AI offers business opportunities to streamline their operations and reach new heights. So fashion firms are now hiring people who with knowledge to assist in brand operations. It provides an opportunity for artists to grow. So I'm sure you're wondering, how does this work? So on your left, I have an example here. This is Nigerian artist Malik. He's created with AI software. So you have seen online. This is a fashion show with older models. These are not real people. These are generated on AI. So how does it help a designer? So in case you do not have a budget to do a real fashion show, you can create AI and do it online with your AI created models. On your right-hand side, you have QR codes. So customers can now know the history of garment form, how is it created, who created it, all that information. So this takes you back to traceability and sustainability. They also use when shopping to check availability of sizes and other things. So why AI is popular is because it's helping the fashion designers in managing their businesses. So again, you do not have to do a real fashion show, you can do one online. If you're creating patterns and prints like this here, you can actually put them on an AI and put them on social media and sell the patterns. And this is why AI is becoming extremely popular in Africa right now in the fashion industry and creative industry. And that is my end of my presentation. So I will take the questions you have. I've been seeing a couple of questions popping up. So Wilola, I'll hand it over to you. Thanks.
Okay, thank you so much, Connie, for this fantastic presentation. It was very great learning with you today. So the first thing that I'm going to be doing is closing the poll. And so if you haven't filled out the poll, I'm going to give you just 1 minute to fill out the poll. So please, if you haven't filled out the poll, you're just joining the session, please look for the poll, fill it out. It's just 3 questions that we're asking, fill it out and type done in the chat box, yeah, so that we know that you are done. Okay, so this was such a fantastic session. If you had an amazing time and this was helpful to you, please say thank you, Connie, in the chat box. Let her know that this was helpful to you. So please drop a thank you in the chat box and appreciate Connie. Thank you so much, Connie. So we're just going to start by taking a question. So first of all, I'm waiting for people to fill the poll. So let me see, where is the poll? Okay, wow. There are just 10 people who haven't filled the poll. We have 97% participation. Yes, so please, if you know you haven't filled out the poll, there are 6 more people on this call that haven't filled out the poll. Okay, so it's going 4 people. It remains 4 people. So if you know you haven't filled out the poll, so please just click on the poll. We just have 1 minute left, less than a minute left. Okay, so I'm just going to end the poll. Thank you so much, everyone, for filling this poll. This is fantastic. So 97% participation. So I have ended the poll. Thank you so much. And we're going to go to questions. Fantastic. Okay, so Connie, people are saying thank you very much in the chat box. Oladero is saying thank you, Connie. Samsung SM is saying thank you, Connie. Awesome presentation. Okay, so now let's take the questions. Oh, so we have a lot of questions here. Yes. Let me see. So if you have more questions, please send your questions to this chat, the question and answer box. So someone is saying, Omar is saying, tell us more about 3D printing in Africa.
Okay, great.
So
Yes, thank you for the question. So And I think I'll go back to the presentation. I'll be referring to it so it can help, because I also see another question on if I could just share again the name of the designer from Egypt. So I think it would be good if I just refer to the presentation and it will help. So for the person who asked the name of designer from Egypt, it's called Reform Studio. I can't remember who asked, but there it is, Reform Studio, and they're from Egypt. Now, in terms of the opportunities regarding the 3D printing, depending on the region of Africa that you're from, let me just, it really depends on where you're from, because different regions within Africa have different partners that they're working with. So what I'd say is I'll be able to share, possibly share in the chat later on, different areas, within Africa. But this is a really new method that has come up within, the African space. So I can be able to share with the Fashionomics team possible places from different regions of Africa that who are doing it and how they're doing it. Thanks.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Connie. So the next question that I can see, so people are asking more about different career opportunities. So the first person is saying, where is that question? Oladeru Bukuolua is asking, what do fashion consultants really do?
Oh, good question. So a fashion consultant, which I also do, so I double up as a stylist and a consultant. So what do? I meet with a client. So let's say a client wants to do, a wardrobe overhaul, all right? I think I'll go back to my beginning slides. I like to refer to this, it will help. For example, this client, right? So this client wanted to elevate her look and she consulted with me. She's like, what can I do to change my look and elevate? So an image consultant will tell you the colors that work for you according to your body shape, what is the best style of clothes you should wear, how you can enhance your hair, key makeup skills. So those are things that image consultants do. They can arrange also your wardrobe and tell you this works for you, remove these things, create, they can create for you a wardrobe where you have options of items that you can use over and over again. So those are literally what image consultants do. And they also work on training, like I train on image and personal branding. So those are just some of the opportunities that within the image consultancy space, training on first impressions, personal branding, image and grooming. So those are opportunities within that. So I see a question here from Aber, how can I become a global handmade brand? So I think that means, my understanding is how can you become a global brand? The key thing is, number one, before you become global, you must ensure that you're able to supply the global market, because there's no point if a buyer from New York, Saks Fifth Avenue wants 50,000 bags. Let's say you make bags and you can only provide 2,000. That's not going to work. So if you want to get into the global market, you must ensure that you can meet the demand and that your quality is consistent. Because if you give an order to Saks Fifth Avenue of 2,000 and they've asked for 50,000, you've definitely lost that order because they'll never order you from you again. So you must be able to ensure that you're able to meet the supply of a global market. Then you can get into that and make sure that your quality is consistent. So
Fantastic.
Thanks, Tobilo. I see an interesting question here from Victoria. What can a fashion brand that can't access organic fabrics and waste recycling do to adopt sustainable fashion? So Victoria, good question. So within your studio, if there are collections that you haven't sold that probably you created 24 years ago, and those collections, those dresses are not sold, what you can do is you can upcycle them. So meaning if the dress is a plain dress, you can add a print on it, or you can add pleats or panels to it. That is sustainability, because you're giving the dress a new lease of life. Remember when I said the 3 R's in sustainability: reuse, recycle, and regenerate. So even if you don't have access to organic fabrics, you can upcycle your collections within your studio. So sustainability comes from very many things around your studio and your environment.
Okay, so there's someone, Ebere is asking, is there any tool you can recommend concerning AI?
So there's different tools regarding AI, because these are used, again, it's the, within different spaces. So what I'd recommend, because these are just in general, I just give an overview. If you research online, there's different options of tools. So people are using different tools depending on what's best for them. So what I'll tell you is just go online and research on AI tools, and you'll see what best works for you. Because what I can recommend may not necessarily work for you. So the best thing is just to see the options that are available online and what can work for you.
Okay, fantastic. Tosor Abe is asking more, she wants to know more about the opportunities of pattern making and how one can seize the opportunity. I think you said something about that.
Yes, I already spoke about that. So depending on the region of Africa, you're all these pattern making machines and all depend, that's something, it's not a one fit answer, because depending on what pattern making technology is available in the country you're from. So what I'd say is just research on pattern making machines that are available within your country, because different countries have different machines available. I saw a question here from L. As much as there are these opportunities, I feel that the industry in Africa isn't advancing enough to make some of these different opportunities profitable as a career. What are your thoughts and advice on this for someone starting out and trying to specialize in a specific area in fashion? So let me read that again. As much as there are all these opportunities, I feel that industry in Africa isn't advancing enough to make some of these different opportunities profitable as a career. What are your thoughts and advice on this for someone starting out and trying to specialize in a specific area in fashion? So what I'd say is, where 10 years ago, where the fashion and creative industry in Africa was, is not where it is today. We have all these designers who are dressing these different personalities. I'll give an example of, 10 years ago, social media wasn't that big. You were not able to connect with, let's say, a personality from Nigeria, and here I'm in Kenya. Now, with the use of social media, you can connect with designers, and you can connect with clients from around Africa. I'll give my example. I've been able to style people because of the work that I do and my social media presence. I have clients who've flown in from Uganda and Rwanda and East African region who've come for me to consult and to style them and dress them. So I think you need to learn to be open about opportunities, because a lot of these opportunities, you create them for yourself. How do you do that? By showcasing your work and being consistent about your work and that you put out there. So you can't do one post on social media about your design in January, and then the next post you do it in April. That won't work. You have to be consistent because the fashion industry it's not easy, but it's very profitable, right? So you have to be consistent about the work that you do and keep being consistent and putting out work there. We have social media. You can connect with anyone around the world.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, Connie. There are two interesting questions here. One of the questions is from Kira, and she's saying, can a person become a fashion stylist without being a fashion designer? That's number one. And then there's a second question from Miss, and she's saying, is there data to back up the fact that fashion styling is a career opportunity in Kenya and not based on vanity metrics on social media? So she's also asking, how can creatives price their services as a stylist using an example of Kenyan stylists? This information is not available because established Kenyan stylists do not share this info with anyone. And she's asking, what's the average consultant fee for a personal stylist, editorial stylist, fashion magazine, fashion writer? And then the third question is, are there any digital fabric printers in Kenya? So let's just start with if you're a fashion stylist, can you become a fashion stylist without being a fashion designer?
Yeah, so good question. Can you be a fashion stylist without being a designer? Definitely. That's possible because, I'll take it from the experience that I have. So I've studied design, but I went into styling. Why did I do that? Because I am not ready to sit on a machine and sew day and night. It's just not me. I find it really difficult. I am not good in pattern making and drafting. But what am I good in? I call it, I have an aesthetic eye. I can look at an outfit and say, this red dress will look great on Jane, or this yellow dress will look good, because I understand body shapes, colors, and what works. So if you have a basic understanding of fabrics, body shapes, and people's personalities and what can work for them, you can become a stylist. But again, you have to be able to understand the situation. If someone, let's say, is going to meet, a president of a certain African country, what would you give them to wear? Would you give them the same outfit as if they were going for a concert, a music concert? You have to think like that, because whatever you're dressing someone, is it appropriate for the occasion? So those are the things you have to consider. Once you understand styling and the technicalities of it and fabrics and textiles and what works, then you're good to go. Yes.
Okay, so the question on data, she asked how do creatives price services? So do you have some sort of information about the average consultant fee for personal stylists and all?
So I'm going to speak from the aspect of Kenya and data on fashion and any information in Kenya. We don't have data, and I'm sure that's a Kenyan asking that question. There's not a lot of data on fashion in Kenya and career opportunities and where you can go. It's something I'm hoping that as a community, we can be able to create data and information that is easily accessible. So data is hard to get. That's number one. Number two, sorry, please repeat the question again.
Okay, please hold on, let me just scroll up. So she's asking, okay, so apart from data, she's also asking, are there any digital fashion and fabric printers in Kenya?
So in terms of digital printers in Kenya, there's a shop that's called Textile, what's its name again? It's called, so I know fabric suppliers. There's one in, there's some, I'm sure you know the ones in Gara and River Road, but there's one in Westlands. I think it's called Textile Loft, and I think they do digital printing. So again, a lot of these things, you kind of have to just keep looking up and down and see that that's how it is. But that one, I think they do digital printing. You can check there. And then within the EPZ area, I'm sure if you've heard of the EPZ in Kenya, Export Processing Zone, there are many factories. They definitely have digital printers there.
Okay, thank you. So let me look for more questions. So someone is asking about, yes, Japhet. Japhet is saying, Connie, thanks for the great presentation. You have mentioned traceability with the Zia Africa example and also QR codes. So her question is, what technology do they use? Is it blockchain? The second question is, are clients scanning the QR codes and what is their feedback? Japhet from Kenya in Southeast Asia.
Okay, yes. So in terms of Zia Africa, okay, so let me just take that across because that's like two questions in one. So in terms of the technology that, okay, so for Zia Africa, I think in terms of her sustainability, she has a whole, breakdown of where the items are from, in terms of each item she's used and when it's from. So in terms of, in general, different brands are working with different technologies for their QR codes. So I know an example of, I also consult for ethical fashion. They have created their own QR codes and they're putting it inside the, the clothes. So if they make a jacket, the different designers they work with, they put it inside the clothes, and then if you scan, you're able to see where, the whole brand story. So again, it really depends on the designers and the type of technology they're using, because there's a lot out there. So different designers are using different technologies, not one fit for all.
Okay, so I have seen some people ask questions about non-fashion roles. So someone is asking about the legal aspect. Someone was also asking about UX, UI UX designer. So let me look for one that gave a very full question. Sorry about that.
So as you're doing that, let me just answer Summer's question. What about fashion mentorship? Is it a continuous guide through every single stage of fashion business, or is it just at the beginning stage? Sam, I think the great thing that you started this fashion mentorship is by being on this platform for Fashionomics, because this gives you an overview about the fashion industry and the opportunities. And Fashionomics also has an Accelerator 8-week program. So, fashion mentorship is a continuous process, whether you're 1 year in business or 15 years in business. You can constantly need mentorship and support, because there's no manual in fashion business. You learn as you go along.
Yeah, so I've seen the question. So I know Kay is asking, as a graphic designer and illustrator, where and how do I plug in to this industry? There's also someone who asked about legal and UI UX. So what is your advice to them?
Okay, so for fashion illustrators, there's a lot of fashion illustrators who are found on Instagram. And what they're doing is they have different options. Some of them are working with editorial magazines and they're illustrating for them. Some of them are working with fashion brands for their illustrations. And then some of them actually just sell their illustrations. So there is a market, but again, you need to be able to put out your product onto social media platforms so that people can see you. So yes, there is opportunity for fashion illustrators, and also working within fashion designers. So fashion designers work closely with illustrators to produce, their collections and their designs and what they want. So there's a lot of opportunities, because even fashion illustrator goes into lifestyle. So you can also work with lifestyle and interior designers to create, different aspects. So illustration cuts across all boards. You can even work with accessory designers. So it's not limited only to fashion. You are the whole creative industry of people you can work with.
Okay, so Farmer is asking, how can a knitting brand that produces sweaters, cardigans, babies, knitted sets, knitted caps scale up in Africa?
I think first of all is number one, being able to have a consistent product, because knitwear is very specialized. So number one is be able to have a consistent product. Number two is to be able to train a team and scale up, because if you have a small team and you have an order of 2,000 sweaters, will you be able to satisfy that? So number two is it's important to invest in training your team. And number three, it's marketing, marketing, marketing. Marketing, the more you market your product, the more you have people wear them, the more you have people who believe in your product and help you market, because that's the only way that word gets around. So that's just the way I'd advise. It's those key items.
Okay, so Rosemary is asking, how can one start a career in textile design and fashion design in ways that promote the models of individual style?
Okay, sorry, I didn't understand the question.
So she's asking, I think you should just, because the question is a little confusing, how can one start a career in textile design and fashion design in ways that promotes the models of individual style?
Okay, so I'll take the question as how can one have a career in fashion and textile design at the same time. So career in fashion, obviously you need to understand who your target market is, because fashion is wide. Are you making clothes for men or women? What is the age? What is the price? All those key things. Now, in terms of textile, then as a designer, you can be able to create your own textile prints. whether it's using, the traditional, aspects of, whether it's tie and dye, or whether it's, screen printing, or whether it's, what I've just shown you now, the 3D printing. So, all that you can infuse into your brand so that you're both a fashion designer and textile. But, textile design and technology, it's a whole, it's huge. So you need to really understand it and, if possible, study about it, because textile technology is very diverse. You need to understand how fibers and fabrics work together, and dyes. It's a whole, other thing on its own. But if you're able to combine the two, which many of the designers do, like I've shown here, then you can go ahead. I think I'd go back to that slide for the sake of the person asking the question, so that they can be able to look at the research more on the designers that I had talked about. So whoever's asked the question, please take note of these designers, and you can research them more online and see how they're able to combine fashion and textile and the different methodologies they use.
So Terry, thank you so much, Connie. So Terry Saye is asking, I would love to start a fashion magazine. How do I go about it?
Great. The key thing about magazines and how magazines survive is on advertiser revenue, right? Magazines, if it's a physical magazine or is it an online magazine? Those are the first two questions. If it's physical, printing a magazine is really expensive. That's the paper and, the whole production, everything, getting writers together to write for you the stories, you have to pay them, okay? Whatever works goes into a magazine has to be paid, whether it's online or physical. So you need advertisers. Advertisers are people who bring you revenue and be able to help you offset expenses. So before you start a magazine, you need to really consider, how will I generate revenue to be able to pay for the magazine to sustain? And then also, what is your target for sales, right? And then who is a magazine targeting? So magazines are great, but they are very intensive, finance intensive. You need to be able to finance them.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm going to bassetsana@gmail.com. She's asking, he or she's asking, do you think someone can be a successful fashion designer without a degree in fashion design?
Definitely. You can become, in today's world, there's so many ways to learn about fashion. Okay, going to school is great. It's an added advantage. But, if you're not able to go to school now, but you have access to internet and you can research and you have your community of designers around you, you can learn. The key thing about being a designer is learning the basics. What makes a garment is the drafting and pattern making. That is the key essential of a designer. You can have great designs on paper, but if they don't translate to a garment, and have you had a situation where you look at the design on paper, what I wanted versus what I got, that kind of thing. So you can have a great design on paper, but when you look at it, on the mannequin or in the shop, it looks different. It boils down to drafting, pattern making. That is the essence of a designer. You have to know how to pattern make and draft. So whether you go to school for it or you learn from someone, then that's fine.
Fantastic. So Jewel MH is already an apprenticed fashion designer. Now she's asking, which of the career opportunities do you think I can venture into? And how can I be a real professional in the field?
Sorry, which field again? I missed that. Which field?
The field of fashion design. So she's already an apprentice, but she wants to know the opportunities and how to be a real professional in that field.
Okay, great. So if you're already an apprentice in, if you're already an apprentice, I would imagine you're working for a fashion designer. I would say, don't be in a hurry to leave. Learn as much as you can, from the production to the finance to everything. Then you can venture out on your own. I'd also say build a community of people around you, because fashion is a social ecosystem. A designer needs to work with a photographer to push their products, all right? So once you have a photographer, you have a shoot. Once your pictures are ready, you put them online. But what do you need for a photo shoot? You need a model and possibly a makeup artist. So fashion is an ecosystem. So as much as you're being an apprentice, make your networks. It's very important. Okay.
Yeah, piggybacking on what you just said about communities. So there are a lot of people here who are fashion designers and are experts in different sectors. What communities would you say they can join, and where do you think they can find these communities? Is it on Facebook, on Instagram? How do you advise that they find these communities?
We're already in a community here. I mean, Fashionomics, this is a perfect example of a community. How many people are we on this call? 326 from around Africa. This is a community on its own. So communities like this, like Fashionomics, and there are very many others that are online that you can also join. I think I had shared, let me just share the thing. There was the one for, that also is very good because you're able to see the designers. Just hold on one second. And this is also a good community to just understand how retail works, okay? Industry Africa, please follow them because they're able to really show you how, sales and, the different brands that sell online. So, there's so many communities online. It's just a matter of just going on and researching, but these are just some of the examples that I've given, but there are many others. I saw, I'm sorry, Otebilola, on AI and what can be used to produce a fashion show. So those are technical details. What I'd suggest is if you follow this artist, Malik, he talks a lot about, the projects he works on, like, this. If you research on him and what the projects he's done, and possibly, I'm sure, you can interact with him on social media, he'll be able to give you real technicalities of how he was able to create this AI show.
Yes, there are a lot of questions on how to use AI, what platforms to use, how to even get started. So I think it's a great thing that you're answering here. So for platforms, what would you say if people are trying to use AI? What platforms have you seen fashion designers use?
So as I said, for that, because now I'm just giving a brief overview regarding AI. So what I'd say is, please, if you follow Malik, he has technicalities of how the platforms he uses. So I'd rather at least refer to someone like I've shown here. And if you can research on him further, you'll be able to see the platforms that he has used.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so there's an interesting question about the sources of organic cotton and where to buy organic cotton in Africa. Abe is asking the sources of organic cotton and where to buy.
Okay, so depending on the region that you're from, so I think for, Kenya, I can say I know there are a lot of organic cotton that we have here and that also from Uganda. So that's a question, depends on the region you're from. So I think you'd have to research depending whether, region of Africa that you're from.
Okay, yes. Okay, so someone is asking, how can someone start a career as a fashion designer, photographer? So as a photographer, a fashion photographer.
Good, that's a good question. Now, fashion photography. So there's different people have fallen upon photography. Some people go and study, whether it's, in a college or institution and they study photography. Some people begin it as a hobby, right? They take it up as a hobby and then they literally, work on it. Some people go and intern under renowned photographers in their country and they learn. Whatever access you have, use it, whether it's going to study, whether it's practicing on your own, whether it's interning for a photographer, use that. But then, again, some people have just started by doing pictures, posting them on Instagram, and just growing like that. Whatever you have access to, use it.
Fantastic. So there is a question from Itume Leng Molupo, and she's asking, I am a yarn crafter who is interested in crocheting fashion. Is crocheting fashion scalable in the fashion industry?
skills like this, like knitting and crochet, those are, a lot of those are, I call them the classic skills that you never want to lose, and that, people are looking for handicrafted skills. So if you can scale up, how many people do you have in your business doing crochet? Is it consistent? Are you able to train them on how to produce the same crochet for different products? If yes, great. So how do you scale up? Are there machines that you can use for crochet? These are things you would need to look and research and understand on how your business can scale up. But it is a skill that is, not as many people have it. So I'd say hang into it and just see how you can grow it with these tips that I've given you.
Okay, so there's another question on knitting. Do you know of any wool producer in Africa where a knitter can source in order to produce knitting garments and accessories? He or she currently will have to rely on imports from China, Turkey, which involves a lot of cost, making the end product not accessible to the target audience.
Okay, so for that, I don't have a specific producer for that. I'll just say you'd have to, a lot of things, especially, if you're looking for something specific, is just research online and see what options are available.
Fantastic. So we have 10 more minutes to answer questions. Okay, so Enyor is asking, is there any platform, one can get a grant to be able to meet up for a startup? Because I'm still in training. I would love to venture into fashion full time.
So any platforms, I think again on that, in terms of platforms that offer grants, I think probably maybe number one, whichever country you're from, maybe you can check with your government if they are offering any grants for fashion. Number one, I'd say check within your fashion ecosystem in your country. And then there seem to be a lot of programs that are online. A lot of these questions, I'd say research online, because there's no one answer that fits all in terms of programs for grants. So you'd have to see what's available. If you just type in online grants, fashion grants Africa, I'm sure you'll get some answers.
Okay, so Ota Koya is asking, I am a textile weaver, handloom technique, as well as a fashion designer. I have been struggling on how to combine the two skills effectively and efficiently. So can you advise on this?
Okay, so let me understand that. So they're a textile designer.
A textile weaver, handloom technique.
Okay.
And she's also a fashion designer.
Perfect. Those are two great skills. So can you incorporate them into your collections? Your textile and your weaving, you can incorporate those into your collection. These are things that will make you unique as a fashion designer. If you're able to combine all those skills into your collections and produce collections that have the aspect of textile, weaving, and with fabric, and you combine and mix, then you have a great collection that's unique.
Okay, so there's another interesting question about recycled fashion. Tari Saye is asking, is there a ready market for recycled fashion? And what have you seen in the fashion ecosystem for this?
Okay, so there is definitely a ready market. I'll give a few examples. So there's a brand in Kenya, and let me speak from, the brands that I know here in Kenya. It's called Suave. I'll type it SUAVE. Maybe I'll type it in the chat. Okay. So they create bags. They go to the market and they get, fabrics or, that are not in use, or they get all old clothes and then they create bags out of them. Another brand that we have is a female wear brand. I'll get you her name in a second. So she makes dresses out of velvet curtains. It's amazing. I'll put it, these are Kenyan brands. I think I'll put it in the chat also. She's called Hamaji. Sorry, I think I'll put it here for a second. This is a Kenyan brand, Hamaji. Again, she makes her outfits from curtains. So she does a lot of recycling. So in terms of opportunities for recycling brands, there's a lot of opportunities for that in Kenya. I mean, in Kenya and around Africa.
Fantastic. There's one question. Okay.
I think I misspelled it.
So there's a question about luxury fashion brands. Anonymous is asking, what does it take for a fashion brand to be considered a luxury fashion brand?
Sorry, I'm just typing out another brand here so that people can share.
Mm-hmm.
So I've just typed a few examples that people can check on brands that are recycling in Kenya. Yes. Okay, so you're going ahead? Yes.
Yeah, so I have actually dismissed the question, but the person was asking about luxury fashion brands and how do you know if this is defined as a luxury fashion brand?
Okay, so the debate on luxury has gone on for many years. So some of the key things that luxury is defined as is, what is the craftsmanship that has gone into it? Anything that has a specific skill and craftsmanship, what is the price? How much does the product cost? So, these are some of the things, what fabrics or items have you used to create this product? So these are just some, key parameters about luxury and what it entails. So luxury is wide. So different people define luxury as different, but some of the key skills are what is the craftsmanship that has gone into the product.
Okay, I think I'll take just one more question. We have 5 more minutes to go. So I think 1 or 2 questions, and then we would end the question and answer section. Let me see. Someone is asking, what does a production stylist do?
Oh, good question. So a production stylist, I'll go through that again. So a production stylist literally is able to work on, let me give an example, TV show. In whichever country in Africa is represented here, I'm sure we all have a TV news station, and we have news anchors who bring the news, whether it's male or female. So those stylists can dress up the personalities, news anchors. We also have a lot of advertising agencies, the people who produce commercials. So that stylist is able to shoot a commercial and, with the photographer and art director, and they dress the personalities in that commercial. So those are the kind of things, production. Also, if there's a movie being shot, right, or a documentary series, so the production stylist is able to dress all the personalities who are featuring on that, whether it's a movie or a documentary. So these are some of the, items that production stylists work on.
Fantastic. So we'll take the very last question, and it's from Caroline and Owangi. The fashion industry in Africa has made great strides in the recent past. However, is it mature enough for a fashion designer to fully support themselves without having capital injections from other sources? You can speak from a Kenyan context.
That's an interesting question, but that's a question that would be directed to a brand, a specific brand, because I cannot speak for different designers. Every business is unique, okay? Some businesses may need capital injection, some may not, some may be okay. So I think that's a fair question to ask designers, specific designers, about their business in terms of how they're surviving and what they're doing to survive. So I think that's not a fair question for me to answer, because it's really based on a designer's business. So I'd say that's a kind of question that you can ask specific designers. But what I can say, in Kenya, our industry is growing. We have designers who are fully having design as a career, 9 to 5, that's what they live and survive on, right? In terms of whether capital has gone into the business or not, those are things now you'd have to speak to them directly.
Thank you so much, Connie, for your time. Thank you for taking the time to answer all of our questions. There are so many questions here, and we haven't been able to take all of them. So thank you so much, at least for the questions that you have answered. People have gotten clarity. So I would say if you submitted a question to the question and answer box and your question wasn't taken, please send your question, that unanswered question, to fashionomicshelpdesk@CcHUBnigeria.com. So you're going to see that email address in the chat box. So please copy your questions and paste in an email and send it to fashionomicshelpdesk@CcHUBnigeria.com. Thank you, Connie, again for your time and taking the time to answer all of these questions and present an amazing class on career opportunities in the fashion ecosystem in Africa. Now, if this session has been impactful to you, please drop a thank you in the chat box and appreciate Connie. Let her know this has been very, very impactful to you. So I see a lot of people saying, thank you so much, fantastic. I also see people still asking questions. Yes, please just copy that question.
We're not able to get to all the questions.
Yeah, exactly. There's very little time. So please just copy that question and send it to fashionomicshelpdesk@gmail.com. Okay. So we have come to the end of the very first community training session of the Fashionomics Africa Incubator.
Hi, Tobilola, please, can I kindly chip in something briefly?
Okay.
Good afternoon,
Please
everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. So we have just created a WhatsApp group for this training session, and we are going to be posting the link in the WhatsApp group. In the chat box now. So before you drop off, kindly wait as we send in the link for you to join the WhatsApp group for further engagements where you can ask your question, and probably most likely we can probably invite Connie to answer some of the questions that were not taken in the course of the session. I know I didn't mention this to Connie before now, but it just came up. So please just be on the lookout now. We are going to send the link to the chat box shortly. Thank you very much, Toby. Sorry for interrupting you.
No problem. So thank you so much, Momolabake. So I see a lot of people who are asking questions on AI communities. Where do I start? Some people are doing apprenticeships and they need help with their future plans. You're going to get all the help that you need. Please join the WhatsApp group and make sure you click on the link. It's in the chat box. Click on it and you will get all the help that you need in the WhatsApp group. Okay, so like I was saying, this is the very first community training session of the Fashionomics Africa Incubator and Accelerator programs. Please note that we'll be continuing the community training session on Wednesday. So that's May 3, Wednesday, 3 p.m. GMT. So 3 p.m. GMT is 4 p.m. West African time, 5 p.m. Central African time, and 6 p.m. East African time. We have an exciting guest speaker who's going to be sharing deep insights on entrepreneurship opportunities in the fashion ecosystem in Africa. So if you enjoyed this session on career opportunities, then you're going to enjoy the session coming up on Wednesday. It will be on entrepreneurship opportunities. We understand how the fashion ecosystem is, and a lot of people are looking for, extra revenue for their fashion businesses. So I can assure you, you don't want to miss this session. Like I earlier said, if you're looking to open up more streams of income for your fashion business, you want to tap into new fashion sectors, or you're looking to use new technologies for your business, you need to attend this session. It's coming up on Wednesday at 3 p.m. GMT. That's Wednesday, May 3. So 3 p.m. GMT is also 4 p.m. West African time. And that's also 5 p.m. Central African time, which is 6 p.m. East African time. So if you have seen the link to the WhatsApp group, please type yes in the comment section, in the chat box. Let me see how many people have seen yes. Amazing, amazing. If you haven't seen the link, please type no so that we know what's happening. We, yes, fantastic. So someone is saying no, there are some no's. It's too melon. Okay, so you can see, just take it easy, pause, look through the chat box, you would find the link. So click on it now. Click on the link now, because we'll be leaving very soon. Yeah, so just click on the link and it takes you to WhatsApp. Fantastic. El Hassan is saying no. I can see the link, so just click on it. If you're having problems clicking on it, then let us know. Fantastic. 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 Okay. Like I said earlier, we have a second session coming up on Wednesday, May 3 p.m. GMT. So please join. We're going to send you all emails, and we'll also remind you about the session on the WhatsApp group. So if you don't want to forget, please join the WhatsApp group. Thank you very much. We finally come to the end of this session. I just really want to thank everyone joining the Fashionomics session for the very first time. We actually have non-participants of the Fashionomics Africa Incubator and Accelerator program here, and I really want to thank all of you for joining us. There is actually a program and we have participants of the program, right? But there are other people who are in part of the program who are here. So if you joined in for the very first time, thank you so much. We're so excited to have you here, and we would like to connect with you more. So please join the WhatsApp group. Also, we are the creative economy practice at CcHUB, and we want to connect with you. So we want you to follow us on social media. On Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, you will find us at CcHUB Creative. You're going to see that in the chat box right now. I'm going to put it there. So this is our name on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. This is our name on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. For Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. For LinkedIn, we are at CcHUB Creative Economy. So look for us and follow us. We'd love to connect with you and share more details about our programs. Okay. One more thing before we leave. There's one key mission that we have to build a strong community of African creatives. So like people who have been asking, about creative communities, we have that at the Creative Economy practice at CcHUB. We have a very key mission to build a strong community. We have over 7,000 community members, and we would like for you to join us. Now, something that we've launched is the Starry Creative Spaces, because we know that there are a lot of African creatives who want free workspaces. They also want places to host their events. We have that under the Starry Creative Spaces. And the Starry Creative Spaces project provides free work desks and event spaces in our Lagos office and in our Nairobi office. So if you need a free desk with very fast internet to work for free from, or maybe you have a creative event you want to host, please come to iHub Nairobi and CcHUB Lagos to host it for free. I'm going to share the link with you. So if you want to host free events in our CcHUB office and our iHub office in Nairobi, please click on that link and you will get all the details that you need. If it's a co-working space to work from with extremely fast internet and a network of creatives, to connect with. Someone is asking, when are you coming to Ghana? Don't worry, we're coming. We need to start somewhere. So we started with Lagos, and that's Lagos, Nigeria. And we started in the Nairobi office, that's iHub. So if you want to host a creative event for free, please come to our offices in Kenya and in Nigeria. We're in Lagos, Yaba, Herbert Macaulay Yaba. So please fill that form. It's a form, and I'll share the link with you. Okay. So please, all these links that we're sharing, please just click on it, because we'll be ending the session very soon. So I have sent the link to you. The links to register are in the chat box. Okay, so I'll just wait for a couple of seconds for people to click all the links that we have sent. So Oladipupo is saying the link is not showing. So please, the WhatsApp link is showing. What link are you referring to? Please share the link to the Fashionomics WhatsApp group. The link is above. Okay. Senegal representation, don't worry, I'll come to Senegal. Don't worry, don't worry. Link for the CcHUB, okay, so I'm just going to send it. Here, let me change it. Put in this. Okay, yeah. We're coming to Morocco. We're coming to Morocco, don't worry. So I'm going to share the link for the Star with Spaces again. If you want to host an event or work free from our hub in Nigeria and Kenya, please click on that link and register. Don't worry, I'm visiting Mozambique soon. It's showing now, thank you. Yeah, we would also visit you in Algeria. Okay, people, we just have 1 more minute to the end of the session. I'm super excited at your enthusiasm. You know, everybody's mentioning their countries. We're so excited. So just please join the WhatsApp group so that we can connect with you further. On behalf of the Creative Economy Practice and our facilitator, I would like to say thank you so much for joining us today. Have a great rest of your day and see you on Wednesday at 3 p.m. GMT. So please make sure we see you on Wednesday, May 3 at 3 p.m. GMT. Bye-bye. Bye, everyone. Bye. Thank you so much. Bye. Bye-bye. Bye, everyone. Bye-bye. Make sure you click on the links and join the WhatsApp groups. Bye. So please end the session, Omolabake. Thank you.